lost track of how long I have been here, and how many visits I have made overall. Certainly the landmarks are now so familiar to me that I have to remind myself to actually see the forms and shapes in front of me. I could stumble blind across these rocks, the edges of these precipices, without fear of missing my step and plummeting down to sea. Besides, I have always considered that if one is to fall, it is critical to keep one's eyes firmly open.
I walk across these dusty plains with only my heart to give me. It is quite beautiful out here, but I don't care. Life goes on automatically. Dear Esther, I'm in a metaphorical island of my mind. There is something. I don't know what I'm supposed to do, dear Esther. Some glow-in-the-dark paint. Interesting. The lighthouse. Can't get up there. It's too difficult. Very well then. The audio is very nice. I guess I'll walk up here. I'm trying all the controls. I can't do anything. I can't see myself. I'm the floating man. Floating, floating, floating man. I could have walked down. Oh, the beach. That was close. This is rather beautiful.
Donnelly reported the legend of the hermit, a holy man who sought solitude in its most pure form. Allegedly, he rode here from the mainland in a boat without a bottom, so all the creatures of the sea could rise at night to converse with him. How disappointed he must have been with their chatter. Perhaps now, when all that haunts the ocean is the rubbish dumped from the tankers, he'd find more peace. They say he threw his arms wide in a valley on the south side, and the cliff opened up to provide him shelter. They say he died of fever 116 years later. The shepherds left gifts for him at the mouth of the cave, but Donnelly records they never claimed to have seen him. I have visited the cave and I have left my gifts, but like them, I appear to be an unworthy subject of his solitude.
I can't jump. I can't do anything but walk. What do I do here? I can't jump, I can't run, I can't do anything. This is very slow. It's been most of the beautiful experience, I guess. Crabs. Hello, crabs.
There was once talk of a wind farm out here, away from the rage and the intolerance of the masses. The sea, they said, is too rough for the turbines to stand. They clearly never came here to experience the becalming for themselves. Personally, I would have supported it. Turbines would be a fitting contemporary refuge for a hermit. The revolution and the permanence.
What's this? There's sand. Interesting. perfect proportion.
Dear Esther, I found myself to be as featureless as this ocean, as shallow and unoccupied as this bay, a listless wreck without identification. My rocks are these bones, and a careful fence to keep the precipice at bay. Shot through me caves, my forehead a mount. This aerial will transmit into me so. All overexposed, the nervous system, where Donnelly's boots and yours and mine still trample. I will carry a torch for you. I will leave it at the foot of my headstone. You will need it for the tunnels that carry me under.
Dear Esther. Whoa. Dear Esther, I'm going to swim. I'm not supposed to, dear Esther. This is just... whoa. Guess I can't die. Dear Esther, where do I go? Whoa! Did I die? What happened, dear Esther? Oh, I'm still alive. That was very strange, dear Esther. Guess that's a deep part I'm not supposed to go in. Am I immortal, dear Esther? Am I? What I am is a very slow walker. Perfect proportion. What is this? What am I supposed to do? It's a beautiful place, this. Yeah, moving masses. Dear Esther. I saw those stairs earlier. I guess I better backtrack. Here we go, dear Esther. Let's backtrack. Up these stairs. Truly spectacular, dear Esther. I guess that beacon calls me, blinking at me each time.
A wonderful sight. The moon cresting the junction between the cliff path and the stone circle. It cast a shadow of the ridge across the beach, all the world as if you had signed your name in untidy handwriting.
That's not a moon. Unless I'm on a different planet. But that's definitely not the moon. Don't see the moon, you buffoon.
When someone had died or was dying, or was so ill they gave up what little hope they could sacrifice, they cut parallel lines into the cliff, exposing the white chalk beneath. You could see them from the mainland or the fishing boat, and know to send aid or impose a cordon of protection, and wait a generation until whatever pestilence stalked the cliff paths died along with its hosts. My lines are just for this, to keep any would-be rescuers at bay. The infection is not simply of the flesh.
What is that? Dear Esther, oh, here's the island. journal. Who am I? Spirited ghost of nothing. Dear, dear Esther.
We are not like Lot's wife, you and I. We feel no particular need to turn back. There's nothing to be seen if we did. No tired old man parting the cliffs with his arms. No gifts or Bibles laid out on the sand for the taking. No tides turning or the shrieking gulls overhead. The bones of the hermit are no longer laid out for the taking. I have stolen them away to the guts of this island, where the passages all run to black, and where we can light each other's faces by their strange luminescence.
Dear Esther, I'm being forced down passages.
Dear Esther, I met Paul. I made my own little pilgrimage. My Damascus, a small semi-detached on the outskirts of Wolverhampton. We drank coffee in his kitchen and tried to connect to one another. Although he knew I hadn't come in search of an apology, reason or retribution, he still spiraled in panic, thrown high and lucid by his own dented bonnet. Responsibility had made him old. Like us, he'd already passed beyond any conceivable boundary of life.
Dear Esther, dear, dear Esther.
I would leave you presents outside your retreat in this interim space between cliff and beach. I would leave you loaves and fishes, but the fish stocks have been depleted and I'd run out of bread. I would row you back to your homeland in a bottomless boat, but I fear we would both be driven mad by the chatter of the sea creatures.
There's the paint. Here's the sea creatures. Someone painted this, of course. Dear Esther. That's it. This is all. Am I at the end? Am I to believe that this cave is all there is to it? Dear Esther. I think that's it, dear Esther. Now what do I do? Where do I go? This way? Dear Esther, this game's taking me by the hand. Through path there's on. I could have taken any path here, but the path only becomes clear after I follow it. I went in the cave and, like a mouse in a lab, I followed the maze. Dear Esther. Perhaps this game is only an experience, only an exploration. Is it? There's nothing to do, nothing to really...
The vegetation here has fossilized from the roots up. To think they once grazed animals here, the remnants of occupation being evidence to that. It is all sick to death. The water is too polluted for the fish, the sky is too thin for the birds, and the soil is cut with the bones of hermits and shepherds. I've heard it said that human ashes make great fertilizer, that we could sow a forest from all that is left of your hips and ribcage, with enough left over to thicken the air and repopulate the bay.
I believe I understand the nature of this game. It's a story, an experience, something that you're simply participating in while you take in everything around you. Everything. There's a path that way, is that a path? Perhaps. I will take this path. This is the path I'm taking. Dear Esther, Who are you, dear Esther? Is it actually getting darker outside? Perhaps. Oh. I've reached, that's it, I've reached level 2. Dear Esther. Like that. Dear Esther.
Dear Esther, I have now driven the stretch of the M5 between Exeter and Bristol over 21 times. But although I have all the reports and all the witnesses, and have cross-referenced them within a millimetre using my Ordnance Survey maps, I simply cannot find the location. You'd think there would be marks to serve as some evidence. It's somewhere between the turn-off for Sanford and the welcome brake services. But although I can always see it in my rear-view mirror, I have as yet been unable to pull ashore.
This is rather beautiful, dear Esther. Oh dear, Esther, if only I could fly. If only I could run. Can't. Dear Esther.
I had kidney stones, and you visited me in the hospital. After the operation, when I was still half submerged in anesthetic, your outline and your speech both blurred. Now my stones have grown into an island and made their escape, and you have been rendered opaque by the car of a drunk.
Oh no, dear Esther. Oh no. Did the man turn into an island? Did that happen? Is that why he's sad, dear Esther? Is that why he turned into an island?
All night the boy has kept me lucid. I sat, when I was at the very edge of despair, when I thought I would never unlock the secret of the island, I sat at the edge, and I watched the idiot boy blink through the night. He is mute, and he is retarded, and he has no thought in his metal head but to blink each wave and each minute aside, until the morning comes and renders him blind as well as deaf-mute. In many ways, we have much in common.
The boy. Criticism on a device designed for one purpose. It's romantic to humanize these things, but also fruitless and worthless. Fruitless and worthless. Fruitless and worthless. Dear Esther, I have a lot of walking to do in order to get to that shiny thing. It's on. Electricity pounds through it. its energy from the rock. This abandoned place must have something. Dear, dear Esther. Dear Esther. Patience is demanded, dear Esther. Patience for the walking. It's like moving through molasses through the great distance of 3D. Listening to the audio and the subtle tones. I'm now on an untrodden path. A new path. Dear Esther. Where are you? What happened to you? Where do the bones lie, dear Esther? It's beautiful. It's monumentally beautiful. This whole thing is...
Is this what Paul saw through his windscreen? Not Lot's wife over her shoulder, but a scar in the hillside, falling away to black forever.
I will not jump. My curiosity compels it, but I will not jump. I will not destroy myself, dear Esther. So will remain unexplored by my suicidal body. A house. Oh, dear Esther.
I've begun my ascent on the windless slope of the western side. The setting sun was an inflamed eye squeezing shut against the light shone in by the doctors. My neck is aching through constantly craning my head up to track the light of the aerial. I must look downwards, follow the path under the island to a new beginning.
What is this? Oh, dear Esther. It's only deep, melancholic people like the narrator who get to appreciate things for what is. Me, my practical nature sees coincidence.
The bothy was constructed originally in the early 1700s. By then, shepherding had formalized into a career. The first habitual shepherd was a man called Jacobsen, from a lineage of migratory Scandinavians. He was not considered a man of breeding by the mainlanders. He came here every summer whilst building the bothy, hoping eventually that becoming a man of property would secure him a wife and a lineage. Donnelly records that it did not work. He caught some disease from his malcontented goats and died 2 years after completing it. There was no one to carve white lines into the cliff for him either. When the oil lamps ran out, I didn't pick up a torch, but used the moonlight to read by. When I've pulled the last shreds of sense from it, I will throw Donnelly's book from the cliffs, and perhaps myself with it. Maybe it will wash back up through the caves and erupt from the spring when the rain comes, making its return to the hermit's cave. Perhaps it will be back on the table when I wake. I think I may have thrown it into the sea several times before.
So pretty. That's all it is. I'm getting closer to the blinking eye. A torch inside a cave. I see. It taunts me. Who maintains that torch? Do I dare? replenishes it, for logic says it must be replenished. Me, I am a logical man. Where are you taking me? Road to nowhere. Damn.
What to make of Donnelly, the laudanum and the syphilis? It is clearly not how he began, but I've been unable to discover if the former was a result of his visiting the island or the force that drove him here. For the syphilis, a drunk driver smashing his insides into a pulp as he stumbled these paths, I can only offer my empathy. We're all victims of our age. My disease is the internal combustion engine and the cheap fermentation of yeast.
Of course. Fast cars and cold beer.
They found Jakobsen in early spring. The thaw had only just come. Even though he'd been dead nearly 7 months, his body had been frozen right down to the nerves and had not even begun to decompose. His fingernails were raw and bitten to the quick. They found the phosphorescent moss that grows in the caves deep under the nails. Whatever he'd been doing under the island when his strength began to fail is lost. He'd struggled halfway up the cliff again, perhaps in a delirium, perhaps trying to reach the Bothy's fire before curling into a stone and expiring.
Oh. Jakobsen. Dear Jakobsen. Dear Esther. There's a cave there. If not for those fences, I could more easily navigate.
Climbing down to the caves, I slipped and fell and have injured my leg. I think the femur is broken. It is clearly infected. The skin has turned a bright, tight pink, and the pain is crashing in on waves, winter tides against my shoreline, drowning out the ache of my stones. I struggled back to the Bothy to rest, but it has become clear that there is only one way this is likely to end. The medical supplies I looted from the trawler have suddenly found their purpose. They will keep me lucid for my final ascent.
Who lights these torches? What's this? When's this that light coming from? Oh. A deep, dark cave of death. Somewhere to fall. Somewhere to swim. Because the slower it loads, the more time is wasted.
Did Jakobsen crawl this far? Can I identify the scratches his nails ruined into the rocks? Am I following him cell for cell, inch for inch? Why did he turn back on himself and not carry through to the ascent?
Truly beautiful. This moss is absolutely beautiful. Dear Esther, I'm going to explore. Follow you a little. Follow the moss, being pulled by breadcrumbs of game design. Dear Esther, dear Esther,
They'd stopped the traffic back as far as the Sandford Junction and come up the hard shoulder like radio signals from another star. It took 21 minutes for them to arrive. I watched Paul time it to the second on his watch.
But all these things, take me a wonderful lucid containers of experience. Take me through these caves. My God. I go. There's no other way to go. I feel the coldness, the wetness of it as I climb, soaked, drizzled, by this moss. Am I a lycanthrope? Are my eyes just better? Or is the moss the brightest moss in the universe? Like an alien moss. Oh my God. I dare not fall here. This is where I fell before. This is where I came in. It's as if God crafted this for me. Not God. Men behaving like God. Moss. Amazing. The mushrooms, the glowy, glowy mushrooms. So many of them. Amazing. The fruitless exploratory.
In my final dream, I sat at peace with Jakobsen and watched the moon over the Sandford Junction. Goats grazed on the hard shoulder, the world gone to weed and redemption. He showed me his fever scars, and I mine, between each shoulder the nascency of flight.
Completely beautiful, worth the time. Is that you, Jakobsen? take me where you will. But I'm cold under these caves. A normal person cannot live. But I have no body. These neurons and these tendrils. These crystals. I go this way and then I go back.
I will hold the hand you offered to me, from the summit down to this well, into the dark waters where the small flowers creep for the sun.
Gosh.
Headlights are reflected in your retinas, moonlit in the shadow of the crematorium chimney.
That is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Behold Damascus. Oh my gosh, it's a circuit. It's a brain. Circuitry. Neural pathways. Away from being a city. I cannot turn back. What is this? So many paths, I believe. I must explore more. I'm going to test the theory. I've gone forward, but I go back, and because it's so slow, people with the patience are the only ones that truly explore. And it shall be a furious weep. So amazing. Came in through here. I went up there, but I feel like I left a pathway behind. Why is that? Why do I feel like I left a pathway behind? That is the only pathway. Wasting time. Very strange. Behold, Damascus taken. A ruinous heap. That's what I think. It shall be a ruinous heap. vision at the end.